Spectrovision Radio.
Welcome to Gods, Ghosts, and UFOs, the biggest podcast in the universe where we talk about everything they said wasn't real. We have some exciting stuff today, don't we, boys? Say hello.
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 Yes, very exciting.
Today, we are talking about Pope Leo XIV declaring a miracle in Rhode Island, the Min Min Lights, and a Buga update. Tom, could you please get us started?
I'd love to. The first American Pope has declared the first miracle of his pontificate in a place where no miracles had yet to be identified. The news came as part of a June 20th papal decree, which also named 174 new church martyrs, most of whom were killed during 20th century authoritarian regimes. The miracle involves the healing of a prematurely born infant in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, in 2007. And this is quite the story. It's worth quoting the July 18th edition of a Providence newspaper, Go Local Prov, at length, which I'm going to do. A boy identified only as Tyquan was born prematurely after doctors induced labor due to an abnormally low fetal heart rate. After delivery, the infant's heart rate continued to drop, and he was unable to breathe on his own. Hospital staff followed neonatal resuscitation protocols for an hour, at which point the nurse reported that the child no longer had a detectable pulse. The attending physician for the case, Dr. Juan Sanchez Esteban, responded to the desperate situation by saying a simple prayer that he had learned as a boy in Spain. Father Valera, he said, I have done everything I can. Now it's your turn. The Father Valera in question was Salvador Valera Pera, a priest born in Huarsal Overa in 1816 and who still has a dedicated following in the town and throughout the region of Almeria. The cleric won the admiration of his parishioners through his gentle manner and dedication to serving the sick, particularly during a brutal cholera epidemic in the 1860s. Although Valera died in 1899, many Catholics in Spain believe that he still continues the work of healing the sick today. And in another part of the article, the newspaper noted Father Valera's, quote, striking physical resemblance to our Pope Leo XIV. And what happened next appears to have earned Valera a few new believers in Pawtucket as well. According to the Vatican, as Dr. Sanchez Esteban prepared to inform Tyquan's mother that her child had died, the nurse reported that the infant's pulse had suddenly returned and that he appeared to be respirating on his own. And he was moved to an intensive care unit where he just recovered completely. The case was submitted to the Diocese of Providence in 2014, which conducted a preliminary investigation before forwarding the report to the Vatican's Dicastery for Causes of Saints. Although other alleged miracles in Rhode Island have been reported to the diocese before, this was the first to pass the initial stages of investigation. Claims of a color-changing communion wafer in Westerly in 2023 were discovered to be an optical illusion caused by LED lighting, while miracles attributed to the 1920s wound socket mystic Rose Farron have never received official canonical approval. Now, what's interesting is that the attending physician released a confirmatory, if carefully worded, statement to the Daily Mail soon after the papal decree. And this is what he wrote. As a physician, I have the privilege of witnessing both the fragility and the incredible resilience of life. While I cannot speak about any individual patient due to HIPAA privacy laws, I understand that a recent recognition by the Vatican has brought comfort and meaning to many. At Care New England and Women and Infants Hospital, we are honored to be part of the stories that inspire hope, and we remain committed to providing care grounded in compassion, excellence, and respect for every individual and their beliefs. Now, this miracle affects more people than just the fortunate Tyquan and his family. It's widely believed in the Catholic community that this papal recognition of Father Valera's intercession will help move him closer to sainthood. And this is a quote. The cool thing is, the more you think about the miracle itself, Father Valera lived in the 19th century. Diocese of Providence Reverend Timothy Riley told the Daily Mail. He never came to the U.S., never came to Rhode Island, and yet the doctor called out and called upon his name. He decided to intervene. This is a blessing, not just for Rhode Island, but for the church. What do you guys think about the first miracle of the year, or at least of this Pope?
First miracle of this Pope, first miracle of Rhode Island. I think that it would be really cool to be that baby, and later in my life, I would definitely go by the handle of Rhode Island's first miracle.
I mean, the baby's 18 now, right?
Oh, wait. This happened 18 years ago?
Did this happen in 2007?
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
This is great for your social media. Like, yeah, you just,
right?
You want to be that guy. I'd love to be that guy.
Also, I'm trying to construct the pickup line based about how I'm a miracle, but I'm not sure I can do that.
I'm sure there's so many.
There's a lot there. A miracle whip line is coming into mind for me.
Miracle whip.
This is my miracle whip, because baby, I'm a miracle. So stupid.
Okay.
We're just trying to give you ideas. Is it Tyquan?
Tyquan.
His name?
Yeah.
His name has been revealed as Tyquan Hall.
Oh, okay.
So he needs to hire a PR firm.
Yeah, that's
but
what I was just
I'm
going to say.
very glad for him. I'm very happy for
baby.
him.
I don't know very much about the possible politics involved in calling something a miracle and trying to make someone a saint. I am intrigued by how long this took, how long this process is. It made me wonder if there was something about modern technology that would shed light on just how much of a miracle it was, but it doesn't really sound like it based on this article.
Well, do you remember the one we did earlier on where we talked about the process of deciding whether or not something was a miracle and how much time did have to pass after the event and what the parameters were for the type of illness and how even if it was an extraordinary recovery, it didn't count. And, of course, you have to have, Catholic people involved. But it's pretty rigorous if you believe any of this at all.
I'm just assuming that it's not the most efficient system, not to insult anybody, but if it takes a very long time and it has to go through several different, what was that called, that group? There it is.
The Dicastery for the Cause of Saints.
It definitely doesn't sound bureaucratic.
No, who would ever accuse the Catholic Church of being bureaucratic?
If there's one thing I've learned, it's that the bigger the bureaucracy, the more efficient. So, yeah, I'm sure that this stuff went as quickly as it possibly could have, which is to say, it took 18 years.
I will say that it sounds like a lovely miracle.
It does.
I would love to have been in that hospital that day when they spent an hour thinking that they were going to be dealing with a dead, very, very small baby and
awful
breathing on its own.
Yeah, I would like to go on record as being very much supportive of saving infants from death and very supportive of miracles, whose beneficiaries are infants and their parents and families. So it is a very sweet story. And I'm very much have been on record and still on record as believing in miracles. And I think that 100% things happen that cannot be explained by the way we understand science. And I am perfectly comfortable calling those things miraculous. And I think in the past we've established that maybe more people would be more comfortable with the word mystery, which is also fine to me.
Yeah. And also shout out to Father Valera, who was committed to tending to the sick during a freaking cholera epidemic.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's still venerated in that area speaks volumes about his commitment to his flock. And the fact that the doctor, the attending physician, who had exhausted all potential, all possibility, just said, I've done all I can, and called for an intercession and apparently got one.
I wish that he could be interviewed. I imagine that in the 18 years since he's said some similar prayers, probably not always got the same response.
That's the corollary, is that.
That's part of what makes it mysterious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like your definition, Jordan, of a miracle. Science that we don't understand yet. You think things that are outside the bounds of what we currently know to be exact.
And I think that there's also something really profound and important about things not working the way that you want or expect them to. Maybe sometimes when you call on some higher force and it reacts the way you really hope it will. And that's really awesome and wonderful, but 100% not duplicable. And you could be in the exact same situation and call for the exact same thing, and it feels like silence or it feels like nothing. And that's also hard. And I think that there's something important about that dichotomy, about a miracle not being sort of a lever that you can just pull whenever you need it. That's just not how it works, and it's not how it's supposed to work. And I think that it's probably pretty productive to explore why. Why can you not just call on Saint Valero and or potential Saint candidate Valero, and have him show up and save your baby every time? I think that that's worth contemplating.
What you were saying, Jordan, reminded me of the sixth Hermetic principle of the Kabbalion, with the idea of, the science we don't understand yet. And it is the principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law.
Chance is but a name for law not recognized.
Amen. Hallelujah. Anyway, if there are people campaigning for Father Valera to become a saint, I'm very happy at least that, it's for someone who's worth campaigning for.
Thank you.
This is politics I can get behind.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah,
also, they have
I
a picture, or maybe it was a photograph of a painting of the Good Father, who just has the most sweetest countenance. I'll put it in the supplement, but he just looks like a really sweet guy. So I'm like, nice to meet you.
This is awesome. That's awesome. What a feel-good story.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to things that are terrible.
Buga is back, and unfortunately, she's not looking so good.
Boo.
Boo, Buga, boo.
Here's the thing. We were talking before we started recording about the fact that we talk about current events on this podcast, and it just means that we get the information as we get it. Would it be so fun if the Bugosphere was 100% real? Yes. But I'm not afraid of updates, and I'm not afraid to change my mind. I think the main thing I'm hopefully learning lots about in chatting with you two every week is how to just never close my mind no matter what. Or my heart, but the mind, it matters a lot in terms of UAP phenomena and how we're contemplating it currently as a society. So here's what's going on, because right now, all we can really do is just take the next piece of information and say, well, this could be this, or this. This is what it looks like right now. As of, July 14th, Maussán Television, which is Jaime Maussán's television network, he's the man who's behind a lot of the media that people are seeing around the Bugosphere. They posted an episode on YouTube about the latest sphere sighting. He claims this to be the fourth sphere. And all of these spheres come out of the Cauca Valley, the first being the Bugosphere. Then there was one in the Tulua area, which was also near Buga, and then another one in Yumbo that was witnessed by a rancher who had a really nice camera, and then this one, which is in the mountains of Mulalo. Here are some of the stressful facts. So the cameras that were put up in Mulalo to spot this current sphere were put up by David Velez, who is the guy who studied the Bugosphere, and they were put up by William Zuniga, who is the rancher who filmed the Yumba sphere. Watching at least just the first 10 minutes of this video that was posted by Maussán Television, both of these men are now on the TV show regularly as UFO Hunters. So that already doesn't look great to me. I'm like, did the rancher not want to ranch anymore? And what are you paying him? What's going on here? So first of all, that's a piece of information. That's who caught the video, was caught with a GoPro. And if you can look at the video, we can link to it. It doesn't look all that real, but a lot of the videos look kind of strange, because it's strange to see a silver orb passing through the sky. But the main piece of information that we're here to talk about today is that a man named Mick West, he's at Mick West on X, and his bio says he's a writer / coder / skeptic / UFO analyst. He took a screen grab of the video that Jaime Maussán was talking through on his television program on the 14th, and said, in Jaime Maussán's latest Bugosphere video, the fishing line suspending the silver ball is clearly visible, reflecting the sun. And it's true. In the video that Mick West posted, you can definitely see the fishing line. I will admit, I tried to pull up the video and go frame by frame. through the full section. I pulled it up on 3 different devices. I couldn't see it, but I'm just your friendly neighborhood Mallory, and I don't know if that's, I don't know if I just don't have the right technology. They also put a couple filters through the video, and with the filtered version of the video, you can see the line much better on Mick West's X page. But at this point, it could be Mick West is the guy who's trying to make this thing look fake, but all signs point to Maussán not being the most trustworthy source. That's how it looks to me at the moment.
Not just you.
Yeah. My problem here is that I don't trust any of these people. That's
my problem too.
It's unfortunate because we already were kind of like, Maussán's a bit suspect. Like, we knew this going in, but he seems sincere, and like this, there's a lot about this to recommend it, anyway. And so I think we're justifiably excited about the things that were coming out from this somewhat suspicious person. But Mick West, I am not on Team Mick West, and I never.
A lot of people in
his
comments aren't.
And I think it's because.
Wait, is he a known quantity to you?
Mick West is what is Mick West? He is the face of skepticism that is really just debunking. Mick West hasn't been convinced by anything ever, which to me is extremely suspicious. I don't know how you can live in the world that we live in and not be a little bit mystified by some things. He became someone who is extremely well respected as a debunker for good reason, but I don't know that he is trustworthy.
It reminds me of the idea that atheism is in itself a religion because it is simply the obverse side of religion. It is simply whatever, the shadow side.
Yep.
So it is its own kind of orthodoxy. Skepticism, like Kelly Chase put it so beautifully in our interview with her, is good. We like it. We like open-minded skepticism. It is not debunking. I hear Scott and Forrest talking all the time about this group of guerrilla debunkers that have mobbed Wikipedia and call everything pseudoscience and a joke and a hoax and all this sort of stuff.
Yep.
Not cool. But with the Buga-sphere, well, as with any of this, what's the baby and what's the bathwater, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, do people hoax? Is this guy like a huckster? Oh my God, yeah, geez. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to be suspending this metal object from a fishing line, it will behave like a metal object suspended from a fishing line. Now, goodness knows we can fake these videos so well now digitally, but it's going to show certain physical motions that one would associate with being suspended from a fishing line. And it could be that there are videos, in fact, I believe there are videos where the object acts like it's not. It will sort of reverse course in a way that's gently or slow down without doing a kind of a pendulum effect. So is the Buga-sphere that they have in a glass box the same thing that was flying around? It's all these questions of severability.
So many questions.
Was this video real, but this thing is not real?
Yeah.
Are these people making it up? Are they just simply trying to keep the wonder going by having something replicable?
Yeah.
The wonder shows up and then it's gone and no one believes you.
And this is something that Scott and Forrest talked about too in our interview with them, is that often what will happen is someone will experience something genuine and authentic and impossible to explain, and then will start making things up later because they can't stand the loss of attention, or because they feel put on the spot and they have to, or something, right? Something drives them to start making up more stuff, to start embellishing the story, to start having other experiences that are totally fabricated. And all because they did actually experience something that was mystifying to begin with. Who knows? Maybe the whole sort of first pass on the Buga-sphere was all legitimate and all very mysterious and very interesting and still unexplained. But then, is it possible that these guys went out there and tried to make more videos on their own using metal balls? And there's all kinds of reasons to justify fraud, right? Like, oh, well, if we can get more funding, we can find out what's really going on with this thing. But people aren't paying attention anymore. The news cycle's moved on. We're not getting views anymore. The funding's dried up. What do? Well, maybe we just reproduce a video, or alternatively, the thing could have been hoaxed from the beginning. Absolutely, it could have been. But at this point, you certainly cannot say 100% on one direction or the other. And I would have to assign at least a little bit of percentage of possibility to Mick West making up some video crap with the assets that he found on the YouTube video and being like, saw the fishing line, because the guy is an expert videographer. That's what he does. He easily could have done that too. I'm not saying he did. I don't think that's a very high percentage likelihood. I think that would be extremely risky to his credibility as a debunker. But It's possible, because that's what people who have very high conviction on one lane of ideas, that's the kind of crap that they do.
That's exactly right. And that's why the Buddha preaches detachment. I'm just not invested in this thing in terms of its outcome.
Yeah.
One way or another, I'm just willing to look at it, critically and see how it feels. I don't think that Mick West is the only person, though, who's saying that the Buga sphere stuff smells a little fishy. I see stuff about some of the experiments that they were, using on the sphere that made no sense at all scientifically, where they're just sort of waving, machines around.
Like I want someone to start reading Bible verses to it just to see how it reacts.
We need to do the biblical test.
Yes.
Well, both of your comments are reflected in a lot of the comments on Mick West posts. Like, there's this man at Rafi the Maussán. I'm going to slightly edit what he said here. Maussán is a grade A grifter. I may not always like you, dude, referring to Mick West, because I think he has a lot of people who don't like him in his comments. But here you've got my full support. Effing Maussán. Dude is an effing charlatan. He's done so much shit like this in the past, I'm assuming is what he meant when he typed last. But a lot of people don't have the context because of the language barrier. Great job. I feel similar, Tom, about the detachment, because I'll be honest, I find this fascinating regardless. Do I wish that what I was fascinated by was the wonder of the unseen world, the wonders of the universe, and not the psychology of egomaniacs and weirdos? But it is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
The question that comes up for me is that if you're a true believer, which this man must be, right? On some level.
Or
maybe this is just his brand. If he goes home and he's like, I'm a hack and I hate myself. Like, I don't know what he does. But you'd just think if you were a real believer, this is the last thing you would do, because obviously you would believe that it would unfold naturally. You'd be excited to see what the mystery would actually bring. But if what you actually are really trying to do is get a pool installed in your backyard or get your ratings up, then I could see how you'd let go of your belief in mystery. And it's so fascinating to me. I would love to understand the psychology of the people who would be willing to dedicate their lives to something and then fake things, possibly.
Of all the topics we discuss, none is more mired in falsity and disinformation than the UAP topic.
It's a wreckage of insanity.
And people go very, very, very deep, and it gets very conspiratorial very quickly, mostly because governmental agencies have made it that way for the last 7 years, because they've just pushed out so much crap.
Yeah.
And like so much like genuine psyop. I do know that is the case. I don't know, if President Eisenhower met an alien in 1959 or whatever that was.
And you never will know, Tom. No, none of us
probably
will
not. No, probably not.
You might.
Yeah.
Disclosure.
Sure. Sure, not from the government.
Definitely not from the government.
Maybe disclosure is the friends we made along the way. Melody.
Okay. Oh my gosh. That's so good.
Can I just share one more thing? As I was watching this video and I was like, oh, those are the two guys from the previous thing that I saw. They were in their official vests and they're like, welcome to another episode of Latin America's UFO investigators. We are here at the top of Yumbo in the Mulalo sector, and we're documenting the 7 cameras that we set up 7 days ago. We have approximately 17 hours of footage from them. I'm like, why do you only have 17 hours of footage from 7 days of GoPro footage? But then immediately after that, they cut to William with a camera in his hand, like filming himself like Man vs. Wild style, because he'd fallen into the bottom of a ravine while he was looking for one of the cameras. And he was like, I'm so disoriented. I can't find David. And I was like, oh no, this is so stupid. I won't say it's not entertaining though.
Well, when we first covered this story, you and I were both like, man, this is already such a good movie. Already. And it's only getting better. And at one point, I'm going to write the screenplay, and it's going to be called Buga. Anyone who's been listening to our show for the past month or so will know that we've fallen in love with plasmoids, which is the term I think we've agreed to use as an umbrella for balls of plasma that appear to be potentially conscious. Things like giant plasma structures in Earth's thermosphere and NASA's own research into mysterious electromagnetic phenomena a bit less far up. Well, one of our listeners pointed us in the direction of the Min lights, which are glowing, fast-moving balls of light that have been witnessed across the Australian outback for many, many generations. These aren't distant whale-sized structures observed from space. Instead, people who have seen these things up close have reported feeling confused and frightened, describing lights that actively stalk people. According to the ever-infallible Wikipedia, the origin of the name Min is uncertain. It could be connected to an Australian Aboriginal language from the Cloncurry area, or it could be connected to the Min Hotel, located in a small settlement of the same name, where the light was observed by a stockman in 1918 in modernity. Neither connection has been substantiated, so we don't know why they're called the Min lights, but those are some possibilities. By now, you'll be wanting some examples, so here are just a couple of somewhat modern accounts. Some years ago, one experiencer named James Birch told the story of, quote, heading back into town when all of a sudden a Min light appeared. We all stared at the light, and all of a sudden we were going back in the opposite way, going back into the bush and following the light without even realizing. In another account, a non-native woman named Leslie Simmons talked about driving alone when she said, quote, the strange light followed alongside for 50 miles, passing through fences, trees, and gullies. The last time I saw the light, it was this huge yellow glow. It was behind a tree, but you couldn't see any edges to the light. It was black all around, so it wasn't the sun coming up or anything like that. She also said that when you looked at it, it didn't hurt your eyes. You could look directly at it and just think, wow, that looks lovely. These lights change colors. They're blue, white, yellow, and seem to move with purpose, following people and leading them off course. Aboriginals believe these are the spirits of elders protecting the land. Meanwhile, scientists have suggested that they could be a mirage caused by natural gases or warm air and cold air coming together, or that they are bioluminescent insects, owls, or birds.
Owls!
Owls. Owls?
Owls.
Wearing headlamps?
Radioactive owls. Just please help me. I became
Naturally,
irradiated, and
it's
I too am disabled.
It's very hard to get through that straight face. Anyway, apparently, though, the most common response to the sightings among indigenous people is fear, not because they don't understand, but because maybe they do. Many of them believe these lights can be hostile or dangerous. There are plenty of stories of people chasing after the lights and never coming back. As if that weren't unsettling enough, many people who have seen these lights claim that they will approach and withdraw, almost like they are beckoning the witnesses to follow. I'm reminded of several things, which I'd love your responses to. First, Tom, back when we first covered the plasmoids in the upper atmosphere, you talked about the Brown Mountain lights. Curious about that connection. And then also, the behavior of these Min lights sounds like what little I've heard of fairy sightings. This sort of invitation to follow, which, if you do, you get disappeared.
That's what both of the things that I thought of. And I have thank God, no experience with fairy lights. We should get Joe Hickey Hall on, who can enlighten us. I can say that from their description, they sound almost exactly like the Brown Mountain lights. If my memory serves, often doesn't. I remember seeing green lights, multicolored lights. They certainly didn't follow anybody. In fact, you had to apparently watch them from a distance, because if you got on the mountain, they would just leave or whatever, disappear. So none of that hijinks. And then I am also reminded of the Marfa lights from Marfa, Texas. So I am interested in the geography of the place where the Min lights are seen. The Brown Mountain lights, someone had the gall to mention swamp gas. It's in the mountains. So, and then they were like, maybe it's some kind of geological reason. I don't know. Tectonic plate. I don't know. Whatever. They're just throwing. I mean, owls.
Yeah.
Owls are blamed for everything.
It's nothing. They literally just picked out some things that you could see maybe in the air or in trees, and they're like, maybe it's this.
It's really quite annoying. Charles Fort had a field day with stuff like that. The thing that is disturbing is the they're malicious.
Yeah, the malintent.
This brings me a little bit back to kind of a continuation of the conversation that we started when we talked about the giant plasma structures in the sky. But if there is a sort of like this entire ecosystem, I would be interested in the plasmoid equivalent of an anthropologist, right? Because you're not going to say, well, the Brown Mountain Lights didn't seem to be malicious and they didn't seem to follow people around, but these do seem to be following people around, and there are a disturbing number of accounts of people disappearing when they follow after these things, as well with the fairy lights. And I got to say, just as an aside, I'm really grateful I have never seen fairy lights, because I am 100% the type of person that would follow them and disappear. I would be like, oh, I got to figure out what that is. I am so after that.
Lead me, sweet
Lead
spirit.
me. I will follow.
Into the marsh.
Yes.
Tom, are you a follower of a fairy light?
No, the reason is because I've listened and read enough stuff to go like, no.
You're better educated than that.
Well, I got educated.
Yeah.
What about you, Mal? Like,
Oh, I mean, I would follow my gut 1,000% in the moment.
absolutely. Thank you.
That's all I ever do in these types of situations. If I feel safe, I would do it. And if I felt like there was something amiss, I would stay put and or run.
This is a huge point. You may not think that this podcast has anything in common with My Favorite Murder, and it doesn't really. But the thing they emphasize over and over is trust your instinct. If someone is giving you, a person is giving you a bad vibe, if you have a bad feeling about it, don't engage. Listen to your gut. And this recalls what Jordan has talked about with respect to our discernment, right? And the same thing goes for whether or not the thing can be seen or not seen, or the environment that you're in. If it doesn't feel right to you, honor that feeling. And we can name it whatever we want to name it. Gut instinct or guardian angels. Doesn't matter. So the fact that you said that, I think, is a very big point.
Yeah, I think in our modern culture, there's quite a bit of body loathing, or a lack of body trust, kind of blaming the body for all of the bad things we do and all of our kind of deeper urges and, hating it aesthetically as well. But actually, the body is a very wise and beautiful creature. And it's worth taking some time to trust what is happening instinctually and often all the different systems that might be at work that we are still trying to understand. There are so many things that we can do in an instant that we still don't completely understand. So I'm fully in that camp as well. And yeah, I do think it applies to people as well. I think there's a big difference between the kind of fear and terror that you feel in the face of life asking a lot of you, asking you to be brave, and a distinct feeling that something means you harm. I think there's just a slightly different taste. And I know they might be hard to distinguish, but I think that when something or someone means you harm and you have a feeling, it's more like a love that you're feeling than a denial of what could be beautiful next in your life.
Oh, it's like a Buddhist sutra.
Oh.
It's just beautiful. End on it. It's decidedly nice.
It's decidedly nice. For those who might not be on that joke, we've asked Tom to swear less.
Yeah. I thought it was a fucking great idea.
We love it.
Oh, that's great.
No, I'm a fan of this, even though I like the fact that it actually makes me quite uncomfortable. I want to be able to believe in the overarching kindness and beauty of the universe, and I really do. But I think occasionally when something like this pops up and it kind of forces me to examine the fact that I actually really don't know what's going on. We might be horrified that something's luring people away, but we don't know where they're going. It actually might not be that bad.
If we just took the indigenous people's word for it, which maybe we should sometimes, for heaven's sakes, they think
for
that
some
these are
reason
spirits of elders protecting the land. So I wonder if some of the people who are getting disappeared meant the land harm, or were trying to be exploitative, or they had harmful intent, whether they knew it or not. And so maybe this is a protection mechanism that feels very natural to me. If there were such a thing as spirits who were invested in outcomes, they may harm those who would harm others. And that might also explain the different reactions people have to different things. And, maybe some people says, oh, the light was beautiful. It followed me around. It just was lovely. And other people might be like, I was terrified. I knew I needed to get away from that thing. And then other people might be like, I'm going to find that thing and I'm going to get a picture. And then they never, they disappear. So
it's such a good take. I think even setting the min lights or fairy lights aside, this world is full of really, really beautiful things that will straight up kill you.
Right.
So true.
Absolutely.
The
ocean.
Doesn't have to be paranormal. It could be a freaking orca.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Just there's a lot of beautiful stuff. It doesn't mean
Yep.
we should touch it
Yep.
or
eat
follow
it.
it.
Yeah.
Or eat
Just
it.
because,
Yeah.
those two things
Thank
are not
you.
mutually exclusive, and that's where I would like to end this episode. Plasmoids can be beautiful, and maybe also they might kill you. And both those things can be true at the same time. So be cautious, listeners.
No strings attached to the plasmoids.
Listen to your gut. Stay safe.
And we'll see you next week.
If you're new here, be sure to check out our Substack, where you can find a lot more cool stuff and share your own stories with us. Just head over to godsghostsufos.com or find the link in the description. Also, a quick reminder that no matter where you're listening, reviews really, really help other people find the show. So, hint, hint, please leave us one. All right, thanks again. See ya.